Hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ and with a tabletop role playing game lens. We're going to take a look, we're going to deep dive into the finale of the Andor series, specifically season 2, episodes 10 through 12, and just an amazing show. Perfect? I don't know. I think, spoiler alert, uh, for all things Andor and my particular opinion of the show, pretty damn close if it hasn't hit it. Some say it hit well over the perfection mark. We're going to discuss it. So guys, grab your snacks, put your feet up, and let's hang out like we're about to play a game or maybe just after and just have a discussion. So glad to have you here. Let's go. So I always start these shows off with with a creatives, community, and kind folks shout out, and allow me to relate this to the Andor series, and then of course we're going to expand this out to the game design and the finale of this show, this Andor series, and of course talk about role playing games. So creatives. It seems like even on the bad guy side, the Empire side, in this television series, if you show creativity, they will harvest that out of you. And if you step over one more line of being creative, you're gone. Oh man, what happens to Deidre? It's so it's the irony is incredible. I talk about community and in my intro, and clearly the Empire doesn't have it on outwardly. Yeah, it seems like a community. We're all working for law and order. We are working for the common good, but it's every man for themselves. It is an extremely lawful evil, society where, everybody else needs to follow the rules, but the people themselves do not, and they will use and abuse those rules whenever possible. Whereas the alliance, the rebel alliance, and I believe the word alliance is pretty important because we're going to talk about Andor coming back to Yavin, which seems to be this locus of community now. According to the timeline of the Rebel Alliance, and how working together is an important part, and where Mon Mothma, her angelic presence is needed. And Luthen knew she needed to be there. He could have eliminated her plenty of times, but I think he knew she needed to be there. And there's an excellent scene of her, no dialogue, just her eating food and commiserating with the other people. And yeah, from the outside, looks perfect. Yeah, Drew says the Empire is the disease, and I like how even Partagaz seems to realize that at the end. Yeah, I mean, the subtle brilliance of the people they got for this television series, and then combined with the writing about what you was seen and heard and said and not said at the same time. Yeah, oh yeah. I know I'm making fun with the lawful evil comment there, but absolutely. And of course, we go back to kind folks. The Empire, it's funny. What I love about the show is the Empire really did show that in many ways they kept shooting themselves in the foot, doing the most ridiculously stupid things, but not out of idiocy. It was more about this this bureaucracy and all of them being crabs in a barrel trying to climb over each other to achieve a goal, and they're ruining their own plans really in many ways. It's just amazing. It was just like they see every problem as a nail, so they just kept using hammers to solve it, and with a couple of simple conversations they could actually stop the rebels. It's amazing writing. So we have to start somewhere. Let's start with Partagaz. I'm picking random characters, but I like Drew's comment with Partagaz and the actor that plays Partagaz, because I mentioned yesterday that most of his scenes and the subtle way they did this, Partagaz is very rarely seen outside of that. I'm calling it the Ivory Tower. It's this pristine white and chrome room with this round table to give you the idea of like equality and Knights of the Round Table in many ways. And Partagaz is this character who he believed in the Empire's goals. Yes, yeah, Drew. I saw the Bix comment when I first saw Bix. I was like, "Oh, Drew was right." Yeah, it was a good period on the end of the sentence. I love it. Yep. Bix makes a comeback in some ways, and I'm going to make a comment about loose threads that I read in an article that the writers wanted to leave those loose threads. But anyway, so Partagaz, there is an excellently filmed scene where Partagaz slowly and surely is left alone in the ISB headquarters room. And while they didn't say it in the show, they did show that little by little, fewer and fewer people were in that room for the ISB. And you're getting this impression that maybe the Empire is even shutting down the ISB. Like maybe they're not as good as they seem to think they are, which unfortunately, which for ourselves as the Alliance, although I am wearing my my Vader shirt, my all over Vader shirt. So it's one of my favorite Star Wars shirts. It kind of goes all the way down. Anyway, that the ISB is getting shut down because of their Partagaz played it as he kept making the analogy that they are doctors and they are politically trying to excise the disease, and unfortunately it was backstabbing writ large, unfortunately. But the scene that I love with Partagaz was when he's in that room alone and he's listening to the young man that made an audio file of a Rebel Alliance, I want to say mantra, and he's listening to it, and it's like he's being taught a lesson about the Empire versus freedom versus law and order. And he's listening to this thing, and a person comes in, he's like, yeah, it's spreading around, and he's like, yeah, it is spreading, and he's thinking of it like a disease. It's like maybe we are the disease and that's the natural order. It's crazy. And then of course, lastly, sorry, before I get to your comment, Drew, where he says, could I have a moment alone? And his colleague is like, yes, you may. And he steps outside with the two stormtroopers, and you see the gun put on the table. The scene then flashes to his colleague that's standing outside, and you hear a blaster bolt go off, and the two stormtroopers flinch, getting ready to go into the room, and that guy just had eyes just downcast, just puts his hand up like, nope, we're going to give it a moment, and I'm just going to put my head down. It was what a great scene. I mean, it had more characterization in that. Like maybe he respected Partagaz, but at the same time, he knows Partagaz's plan failed and stuff. Oh my God, it was so great. Drew says, I'm now wondering if there will be another case this year in which I have to predict the baby. After having done that with the Fantastic Four's first steps, yeah. And now with Andor, not even sure why. I'm so tuned into that. I wasn't thinking of Bix with the baby, but once you mentioned it, because to be honest with you, listen, we could assume that that baby is not Andor's. Of course, it's Andor's, and he's fighting for a world. In many ways, many of these NPC characters, these side characters, Andor, and then we've got secondary characters, right? Tertiary and quaternary characters who, like Luthen said, are fighting for a sunrise they'll never see. And if I can point this out, Kyla, his Padawan of sorts, his daughter agent that he raised and trained, there's a scene, they never mention the words. She gets to wake up and see the sunrise. And they didn't even, it was a callback without words, and I love it. I love it. Drew says the stuff he listed too is the recording from Nemec in the first season. Yep, who became with just the 3 episodes he was in my favorite Star Wars character. Yeah, Nemec was the young, I'll say the young, wow, what would you call, like the I'm trying to think of the great words for this. He was the idealistic rebel who was assembling words and phrases and terms and learning what it means to be, dare I say, human. Like the word that was mentioned by the older gentleman from Gorman, who said, "What kind of being are you?" And now, mind you, this is in a world with not just human beings, but like other aliens and whatnot. And I don't even know if the humans in the Star Wars world are called humans, but it was interesting. He was like, he didn't say what kind of human are you or what's your humanity. He said, what kind of being are you? Like, you're not even human. And then Nemec is the opposite. He's like, this is what it means to be alive and be free. And Partagaz is even listening to it like, there's a reluctant, like, shit, maybe he really does have something to say here. All right, so we're going to move from Partagaz. Hey, kitty. Because let's go down the Empire side. So let's talk about Dedra. Oh, man. Spoiler alert. Dedra in a prison outfit, barefoot, maybe in Narkina 5 or whatever, one of those prison barges or something, building pieces for the Death Star and getting punished. Yes, amazing. I mean, even her excellent ability to investigate and to put together pieces that other people aren't putting together becomes her own downfall. The Empire literally, hey buddy, what's up? Where are you going? Okay. She was obsessed with finding Axis. Axis, of course, is Luthen, which we find out that Luthen's name was like some kind of like random rando, like, yo, I'm Luthen, and you're going to be Kyla, and don't argue with me. And we're like, what was his real name? We won't even know that. But Dedra getting arrested, she still thought, she was just like, we're going to work this out, as if the system was going to work in her favor, like as if honesty and true grit and hard work were going to be rewarded in this oppressive fascist system. And it goes to show you at the very end. You're absolutely right about that one. Yeah, Brutus was like, nah, get off of me. The old cat. They'll be back. I've got the warmest lap. They'll be back in my clutches, getting head rubbies and chin rubbies. You'll see. You'll all see. Where's my cloak at? So the fact that she believed that, well, if my intentions were good, they'll understand. And the Empire has already moved past her. They're just like, we're into genocide now. Like this subtlety about searching for criminals and all this kind of stuff. Nah, we're just gonna nuke them from orbit. Like we are far past you um, young lady. And I mean, even just the way they filmed it, the close up on her face, uh, a number of these characters, there's close ups on their faces from above, showing that they are beneath us now. And the close ups are, uh, it's got that stark HD where you get to see people's pores and the shadows in their eyes, and it doesn't give them it's the clinical light that they're under that just makes them look like they are skeletal in a certain way. Yep. Yep. Where is it? The law is like a spider web. The flies get caught and the wasps go free. Yeah, she thought so. She even to the end, when the individual that she was supposed to work with, one of her underlings, that's assigned to her, basically, helps to get her arrested, ignores her, gets arrested, tries to overtake her, and goes to her for help. And she has the nerve to be like, well, there's one last thing to help this out. And they're just like, yeah, we're done with you. Oh man. Ben Mendelsohn just grabs her face like you don't understand. You're just cannon fodder now. You're useless. Bye. Yeah. Wow. It took her. She did not realize when she's sitting in that room her uniform with all of her badges removed, and she's still trying to give the stiff upper lip and trying to straighten her back out and everything. I mean, honor to her, but yeah, great character. And to find out that she gets put in the prison with people probably she imprisoned before, that, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And let me see if I can point this out, and correct me if I'm wrong. Luthen, through Lonnie, took down we didn't get Uncle Harlow. Luthen, through Lonnie, took down Deidre, because Lonnie, before his unfortunately timed death on a park bench, Lonnie is just as important to. We keep talking about how important Luthen was to the Alliance. I think we're forgetting about how important Lonnie was to all this. Lonnie was the one that was just like, well, I broke into Deidre's codes when she was doing her thing off the books, so that I could help you out there, Luthen. I just need passage for my family. And Luthen's like, yeah, Evan, yeah, we're gonna get you out of here. Yeah, buddy, whatever. I'm just like, Luthen, you are so horrible, but great. He is the unsung hero. I mean, Luthen was correct when he said we need heroes like you. Towards the end of season 1, where he's like, I sacrifice everything, and Lonnie's gets put back in that position. Lonnie gets out the information that's needed. He put together the Death Star, the plans, the what is it, Calkite and the Kyber crystal and the Scarif thing, and he put it all together. Maybe only got a couple of code words out, but yeah, definitely hero, unsung. Nobody knows. He's the NPC that gets killed, who overstepped his bounds and whatnot. Yeah, I almost feel like he should have left that on a piece of paper and stapled it to a door and left. Man, he was just, oh my goodness. Also, and I'm gonna give Tony Gilroy and the crew credit for this one. At the end, it seemed a little ridiculous that these spies in the rebellion on Coruscant are talking in public out loud about these things. But if I can give them credit for it, I think it was done because they know this is the last stop, right? This is we are not being as careful because we need to run. And we need to get this information out as fast as possible. That's why Luthen stopped Kyla on the steps and was just like, repeat after me, these words, boom, Death Star, Calkite, plans, Urso, blah, 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 not Jin. Jin Ursu's father that helped design it. Clea, not Cal, damn it. It's Clea, or Clea? Yeah, even the flashback, because we'll get into flashback too. But yeah, Lonnie, a very important character, and Lonnie's spy work got Deidre in trouble. Galen Urso. Thank you very much. I'm horrible with names. I apologize for that. I love the characterizations. It's the actual names I forget. And what my inadequacy is an excellent part of the show, in which the entire show is made up of side characters, and every time a scene would change with another side character, the brilliance of the show was like, oh yeah, we haven't seen them in a little. Oh, that's right, because so and so is like, oh yeah, wait a minute, aren't they included in? It's a really good testament to the show that I bet we haven't had that much time with most of the characters, but we feel like we know them a little bit more, and our own brains are filling in the gaps to all these characters. The fact that Deidre got punished because Lonnie was digging into her files that she shouldn't have been digging into anyway, and he basically framed her, meant that Luthen, through Lonnie, took out Deidre, and so she got what she deserved. The speaking of names, that is another reason why I think playing in third person is beneficial, since each player can thus reiterate the names of their character every so often. I agree, and I mean, I guess role playing wise, I do default to going like separating, like when I say I or me, that's just me in reality, or speaking as my character, I will say like my character says, and then I fill in the blanks, one for the other. Like I could say, hey guys, listen, you know, my character is acting scared and doesn't want to go, but I'm not purposefully derailing the game, and then follow that up with my character says, blah blah blah, I don't want to go on this trip, I don't even like sailing, blah blah blah, you know what I mean? So there's so I can say like out of character, here's the context, and then but my character says, and then I say that in character. So I know some people were just like against it, and we had a discussion about that where people were just like, oof, I can't believe you would even do that, such a thing. I don't know if that's like local or a stateside thing or something like that. I think every person, I'm real zen about it, so I fluctuate a lot. I don't have like a specificity, but yeah, the excellence with which they made these side characters does really tell us a lot about like talking about names and speaking to names, and you know, not necessarily needing special voices, but characterizations, like what are they wearing, or what is their demeanor, or maybe they have a really cool turn of phrase, or a special language they use, or they have a bodily quirk or something. Like I love Luthen's affectation where he takes one hand and he raises up one hand and has kind of like the limpy wrist with his with the bent elbow thing for his when he's undercover, when he's pretending, and you know, it was just like like, take off the stupid. Deidre looked at him like, you didn't take off that stupid wig, and we get to see the Deidre Luthen confrontation where Luthen basically sacrifices himself, or at least tries to, and there is again, maybe I'm seeing this. There's 3 times in these last 3 episodes that Luthen does have a heart, and one of those times was when he gets that liquid mercury silver acid or something, and gets ready to pour it on Clea's communication set, and he hesitates. And I think he looked at her communication set as something special, like as instead of toys or like family photos or something like that. I think her communication set was something special to her that he made. I mean, that he he could have encouraged her to build it, or maybe she's the one that was like, we can backdoor our way into linking into the Empire's old communications network. And I think he was hesitant, which, you know, it can, we say some things are, the timing is funny because he gets ready to pour it and then he stops in the middle of pouring it to open up the front door, and Deidre sees the smoke in the back and blah blah blah. Um, is it convenient? No, I think it was a good characterization. Oh yeah, the young Clea was that like her real sister? It was crazy. Her voice and stuff. Yeah, the actress for young Clea was also top notch. Like all the acting in the show. Yes, she was like, clearly this young girl was not a little frail flower, right? I mean, and here's another thing, because I don't know this in the Star Wars lore, and I'm piecing some things together. But do we think? Because this is what I think. Was Luthen, and I don't really, we never know his real name or rank or anything like that I know of. Was he on the Empire side during the Clone Wars, and they were pacifying uh, the, what were they called, the Separatists? I can't remember what the groups were that were artificially created by Palpatine, um, but were they based? I mean, were we given the impression that the clones and the Clone Wars were basically murder killing women and children? That's why the child hid, and he had to hide her because the clone troopers were out there basically on a mission, and that's why he almost lost it. And if it wasn't for him finding Clea, he probably would have defected, i.e., removed himself from that world. He was on the verge of a nervous breakdown, or worse. And are you coming up? Come on, Bruce. Come on, come on. Yeah, you begged me. You begged me. Oh, don't fall. Don't fall there, buddy. Oh, I'm gonna pick you up a little higher. There we go. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, he seemed like he had some kind of command element. Maybe he believed in what he was doing, but then he finds Clea, and he's just like, "I am the hell out of here." Now, they don't really explain what special skills or gifts or something he had, but clearly he knew some background material about the Empire. Like he must have known. Let's just say that he seemed like an intelligence officer. Um, Extraordinaire to know what to do. And the lesson that he taught Clea, when he was just like, she wanted to press the button to destroy the thing, and he's like, "No, look at me." And then he pressed the button so she didn't have to. And he says, "Now look," as if to say, like, it's, I know it's in movie lingo, it's the funny thing where everybody always has the explosion behind them. But I think it was, you don't want to be looking where the explosion is going to happen because it makes you look guilty. You want to let everybody else be amazed, and you want to be like, "What? Did something happen out of the reach of me?" And then we get the flash present, the flash forward, where she hits up another button taught to her by Luthen, so that she could go in, and basically she has to murder kill the one man that was like her father figure. Now, there's two other moments where he expresses a form of love for her, and she recognized it. So the act of him not letting her do the explosion and giving her a teaching lesson at the moment was one of those. Another moment was um, where she says, uh, "This needs to be perfect," or something to that effect, and he looks at her and he says, "Well, we've run all out of perfection," meaning like he was looking down at her as if to say, "You're perfect. The rest of the world is just a pale reflection of you." And she caught it. She did catch it. And lastly, I want to say that while they were walking when she was a young girl, he's like, she says something like, "Aren't you my father?" And he's like, "Well, only when I need to be." And there was a little bit of like wow, like damn, you could have like, give her some reassurance. But then he looked at her and gave her the credit for getting the money from the trading the artifact, and he was like, "But you know, let's go get something to eat." And as if to say, "You did good. Like you actually are my daughter." So Luthen really did care for her. That's why he wanted to tell her like, "Get the hell out of here," because he knew he was going to sacrifice himself. What great characterization! Um, I mean, Luthen is a fake identity, so actually people aren't even going to remember who he is, and yet he was so instrumental for the Empire. So great for not instrumental for the to the taking down the Empire. You you Kitty are falling you're falling asleep in the wrong direction, buddy. I'm right-handed. I got to use this hand. Anyway, um so let's follow Luthen and then into Andor. So Andor now is pulled into the gravity of Yavin or Yavin 4 or whatever, the moon that the Rebel Alliance is hiding on. I'm gathering that Yavin really isn't very important. It might have had like an ancient civilization on it, but that's about it. They really don't go into a lot of yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree. Yeah. He's just like, whatever. You're my bio pillow. Do as I say. And you know what, Brutus? You have trained me very well, haven't you? If this was ASMR, you would definitely hear the little outboard motor rumble, rumble, rumble. Oh, you burned yourself out this morning. So the the when Andor returns to Yavin, I love how Andor's getting pushback about his relationship with. Um, thank you. His relationship with Luthen and the information that he's gathered, and how he still has his loyalty to Luthen. And I didn't piece, but mind you, don't blame this on me. I didn't piece this together, but there were some other people that pointed out the fact that people have been telling Andor to stop trying to save people, and not that he's done a very good job at it. He's actually showed up pretty late on some of the attempts to save people, but Andor is a guy who grabs his stuff and doesn't ask questions. He goes and tries to save people. And he's often, stealing a ship, flying off, to go find someone. And the fact that he wanted to get up and try to save Luthen, despite the fact that Luthen has lied to him, has manipulated people, but Andor can kind of see through that and go like, well, he did it for a reason. He did it for a good reason. And yet he comes back to Yavin and everybody, or Yavin 4, and everyone's just like, Luthen, huh, huh. little, little ungrateful ingrates. Oh, man. But to be honest with you, it made a lot of sense. I hated it, but it made a lot of sense. And it is that transition from a rebellion scattered, I have friends in many places kind of thing, to we are a united, separate political governmental bloc that is in opposition to the empire, and how that council has gathered together, probably like a web. They are like probably the biggest voices or factions that represent the different re- rebel groups that are out there. Also, we get to see that their fashion choices are starting to come together with the ivory and orange jumpsuits and whatnot, that they're starting to look like a, dare I say, a community, a family, uh, and whatnot. But it is pretty funny to have like Andor's like, he's done all this stuff, comes back, and they're just looking at him like, dude, Luthen, we don't trust that dude. F that dude. And yeah, Clea still has to, she still has to allow him to pass on it's crazy that she has to do that. But there's even a we get a friendship, dare I say, maybe even something more. Hint, 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 between Val and Clea, possibly. Nothing said outwardly, but Clea thinks that she's not Clea, who was raised to not have to trust people. She pretty much thinks she's going to get assassinated if she goes to Yavin, which is crazy, but it actually makes a lot of sense. She's like, nope, I'm going to stay on Coruscant and try to stay alive as long as possible. Because if I go with you guys are going to put a bullet in a blaster bolt in the back of my head. Yeah, Drew says, I have friends everywhere with such a neat code phrase. And I liked how Luthen told Deidre that there is a whole galaxy to disgust her. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Deidre, by the way, the little rebellion you found on Coruscant, it flew away. It's everywhere now. It's spreading like wildfire. Yep. He had to dig that into her just there, just before he went to try to sacrifice himself. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So of course, Drew, you predicted the scene about Bix, where Andor is flashing back to scenes of his sister being missing, and then we get that superimposed with the montage of what's happening with all the characters at the end of the season, and we get to see Bix with a small child, because remember, it's been a year, and we're presuming that she's, well, we don't know whether it's happening simultaneous or a year later, or basically it's letting us know, like, hey, guess what? During Rogue One, in that period of time, she did give birth, and let's be honest, it's Andor's kid, because it could have been Brasso's kid, to be honest with you, but it's Andor's child. I don't think Brasso would have. I think his honor wouldn't have allowed him to be that way, to be with her romantically, unless a number of more years passed by. But I, are you getting down, Kitty? Come, okay, all right, here we go. Is this better? This is better for me. Is it better for you there, buddy? Great. Well, I thank you too. Don't make me lick you. I will. Don't make me do it, because I will. Mhm. How about a head rubbing? I'll give you one of those in exchange. Oh, sorry. Got sorry. Young cat in lap distracted. So the Tony Gilroy in an article was asked about the fact that, why didn't we find out that Luthen found his sister? Like, there at some point, was it BBY 4? I couldn't remember the years. Because that's right, because BBY 3 was episodes 7, 8, 9. Because these are done in year chunks, so the child would have had to have at least been 3 years old or 4 by that time. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I agree. Okay, yep, that's me being stupid. Yep. So, but he Andor is fighting for a world that he knows by the end of Rogue One he won't see. And yes, is he really trying to fight to make the world safer so he get back to Bix? He actually is. And the Tony Gilroy wanted to mention the fact that we never got him. Um, he never found his sister, whether she was alive or dead. And Tony Gilroy actually admitted that she's probably died. Uh, but this is Andor's core motivation, that the entire galaxy is his sister, that he's always trying to get back to where she's at, and everybody else is a surrogate for his sister, and all the people he meets along the way, all of his the experiences he keeps building up. As a matter of fact, it's really cool how his connection with people are all the events that they've been through. Stolen Sky and Ferrix and Narkina and blah blah. Like they're naming these different events, um, like Breaker of Chains, right? And every time they give him a hug, he's hugging people because they're listing off all of these events, and the people that are coming with him are experiencing those events. So there's this chain, and his sister is at the pinnacle of that, but he won't ever reach her. So he'll always be finding more people and another person and things like that. Of course, we know that there's an end of the timeline of Andor. But if there wasn't one, he would be the person who's going out to try to save somebody else, because that person could be his somebody else is missing their sister. And in Rogue One, they tied that background element in because someone says to Jyn Erso, calls her little sister, and Andor is like privy to that. And although it wasn't, we probably didn't understand the context in Rogue One because it probably wasn't developed. In this show, it was developed that Jyn Erso, little sister, this is a person that I'm going to help and defend and follow and try to bring back and stuff. And I was like, that's kind of cool. It's very, because a lot of times we try to, when there's characterization, that we want things tied up in a little neat bow. But remember, these are all NPCs, right? These are tertiary and quaternary secondary characters, and they don't, a lot of times secondary characters don't get happy endings, right? They get grabbed by the throat by K2SO and used as cannon fodder and meat bags to absorb blaster bolts and whatnot. And yeah, crazy. The introduction of K2SO was kind of interesting in a bridge. It's a little bit of a comedic element to give us a bridge over into Rogue One, where Rogue One is more has the bombastic music in the background. Much better than the little music playing in the background on this channel. But it has a lot more that Star Wars. I want to say situational comedy, the dry humor that's in it, where K2SO drops off these dry little lines. Like, for example, in the Andor show, he's like, "Oh, here's the person we don't like. He's coming to talk to you." It just says the honest thing. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I loved it, and I still love even how does Tony Gilroy's crew make tension from a blinking light and a beeping sound effect. It's so good when they're like trying to track down the signal for the communication element, and it's just a beep, 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 beep. It's Star Wars version of Morse code SOS going on. I, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's such a great show, and great characters. Who else did we get to see? We saw Deidre in jail. Um, we got to see Val and Clea kind of hanging out together, giving her a new lease on life. Basically, I wouldn't. I can imagine Clea is the new Luthen part of the rebellion. I suppose many of these side characters. I know a lot of people are talking about how great it would be to make spin-offs from them. Like, could the rebels have their own spy network led by Clea and trained by them? I could see that. And so many other characters. Heck, even I'm gonna butcher his name. Malchi, Malchi following Andor, and like who's this guy following Andor? Well, we get to see the background of that, the escape from Narkina 5 and so on and so forth. I mean, he's just like a ride or die. He's a dude just like he's my dude. All if Andor came to him like the line in the movie The Town where he's like, "Listen, I got to ask you to do something, and I can't tell you what it is, and I can't have you asking questions, but we got to hurt some people." And Malchi's just like, "Dude, which vehicle are we taking? You know, yeah. K2, want to know how many regulations we broke? Yeah. Cassian, no. K2's like 17. Cassian said, turn off the radio. 18, click. So funny. Hilarious. Like that was a really cool funny aside. It was just like, we Cassian, we've broken 17 rules. Turn off the radio. Click 18. Even the tapping on his chest, he's like, waking humans is always awkward. It was so funny. Oh man, yeah. And Cassian's like, I mean, is Cassian friends with K2SO? I don't know, but it is a funny relationship because they're playing cards with him, and K2's knees are like basically up into his chest, and they're basically like laughing at the android, like, dude, it's a card game. We are bluffing. Yes, we are purposefully being not truthful to you. And the K2SO is like, this game is stupid. Oh man, yeah, the KX droids and whatnot. Also, someone in Star Wars lore pointed this out that I didn't realize, but I just followed. Because part of me was wondering, like, why aren't the KX droids armed to the teeth, like with weapons and things like that? And someone pointed out that this is the period of time where the Senate banned droid use because of the previous Clone Wars, and that the overproduction of the droids was banned with the force fields and the spider climbing and all the hard weaponry and stuff on them, and that the K2s are a a violation of the very rules that the Empire insisted to use, where it was like, no more droids, we're going to use clones. And then and after Clone Wars, they stopped using the clones and started recruiting basically children into these kinder camps and work camps and stuff to be pure fascists. And that the K2s are, well, the enemy shouldn't use these weapons, but maybe we should. And I was like, that I guess that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, which also makes them even more terrifying, where the K2s are throwing people around, and people were, humans haven't associated horror with robots in a while, in like a generation or two, and so that maybe one generation of having them gone. There was something else that it just flicked through my head. Sorry. Mm-mm-mm. About the K2 droid and the comedy that had come up. Oh, the um oh man, I forgot his name already. Forrest Whitaker's character. Oh, I forgot his name already. They even do a transition of the downward spiral of the I guess you could call the insurgent terrorist organization that's in line with the rebels. Saul Guerrera. Thank you there. Saul Guerrera, who uh he's got the breathing apparatus and breathing the, what do they call it? Iridium or something. I can't remember it. Oh, uh, so that's really cool. They did the little hologram, and they show us and why he's like walking with the mechanical legs now. Not now, but in Rogue One, and he's kind of lost his mind, and everyone's just like, we can't rein this dude in. Something's got to be done. Of course, he sacrifices himself, and there is a theme of characters. These, dare I say, tabletop role playing game NPCs sacrificing themselves and not seeing the end results of what um, they were vying for. So Saul Guerrera does not get to see the world that he's been manipulating people to achieve. A lot of these characters, Andor is another one who, he hopes that the plans get out, but he doesn't know. But he has a hope, and they even threw in the force sensitive woman that he walks by and sees her from a distance, and she catches his eye, and there is this this is the part of the Force in Star Wars that I love, where you know it's not a Jedi and a network. It's not by blood. It's these random people who maybe are there's something working in the universe in their favor. Even Andor had to say, like, I mean, even Luthen had to say to Andor, like, dude, you were there when I needed you. Like, that's a little bit too much of a coincidence. That's too much of a coinky dink. And maybe there are forces putting people together and putting them in the places that they need to be and whatnot. And of course, not to downplay their own heroism, right? Like, you know, not to call it um main character syndrome where they have plot armor, but every writer who writes a story puts some kind of plot armor on their characters. I mean, otherwise there wouldn't be many stories. Most of us normies don't have story elements in our own lives that rise and fall in a literary manner. Most of our stories get cut short pretty quickly and are very uneventful if we were to write them out one by one. Um, Although I have an interesting background, I don't know. I've been told that you know, it would be cool for me to do a little a podcast about a part of my life and my lifestyle that I lived that was pretty interesting. Little, little different, little dirty, but it was cool. I learned a lot. Yeah, buddy, where you going? Jumping down? All right. Um, yes, I do. At least that chunk of my life, I had a lot of plot armor. There was a lot of plot armor. I don't know, maybe 10 years of my life, I lived a life that would have been, um, dare I say, salacious. And I don't know how I got blessed with that. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Oh man. Too not safe for not safe for work kind of stuff. George R. Martin had good plot armor for his characters. You stay alive, but you get your ass cut. Yeah, yeah, oh, no, yeah. You stay alive, but certain body parts that might be covered with certain types of clothing, you're gonna lose that too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, every story ever written has characters with plot armor. If you think about it, because they're in service to a story. So every character is in service to some kind of story. It's not random. I mean, I suppose ultimately you could take a tabletop role playing game, make a solo, get a solo game, start writing a story, roll dice, and then just randomly determine what the characters do. I guess would be the ultimate no plot armor. But other than that, I think it's over. I think the plot armor thing is overused. Um, it's only when there's bad writing you see it more often than not. Things that are done excellently, we never see how the sausage is made. But if you bite into some sausage, you're like, I think I bit in some bone. And then you're like, yeah, I know how the sausage is made. So Andor in many ways is like the Force character, right? Like there's arguments that have been made that Han Solo has been the Force has been following Han Solo to put him in the place so that Luke and his allies could achieve what they wanted. And despite the fact that a character doesn't believe in the Force doesn't mean the Force doesn't exist. It just means that they specifically don't believe in it. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit more than that. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I was in a well, what do you guys call it today? A polycule? I don't know what it's called. Anyway, yeah. Drew says, for my own system, I deliberately designed it that way, that the players can continue playing even if their character bites the dust. And it's difficult. There's a difficult tabletop balancing act to have players still engaged with the game, even though their character is not engaged with the fiction. Uh, and it can be a little difficult with that. So I'm glad you found out something about that. I'm saying hello before saying goodnight. That's awesome. Thank you there, Heathen. Yeah, this show, Wow. What brilliant writing to give new context to the Rogue One movie, and what an excellent way these characters were developed. Like here, um, talk about character development, and mind you, we've seen this before. Ooh, your claws just dug on in. Come on, come on. Um, talk about character development. the Empire has the Empire has technicians going into find what is it? Clea's hidden communication network, and one of the technicians is like, "Oh, this was brilliant," and she's starting to smile, and her supervisor just shakes his head like, "Mm-mm, mm-mm, not here, not now," as if to say, like, she nerds out on this kind of stuff, and her immediate supervisor is like, "I know you geek out on this, but not right now. Don't do this in front of the white jackets," right? It's so cool. Yeah, hippie commune where you all get to yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Um yeah, a complete nerd. Yes, a it was the story of a complete nerd, this guy, with a dare I say, lady of the streets combined with a another lady of innocence in a triumvirate, and it just worked. It worked temporarily, but it worked for a short time. It just how anyway, it just came together. We I don't know, maybe I guess you could call it trauma bonding. I suppose today is what people would call it, but I don't know. We just filled each other's niche. It was kind of cool. Um, yeah, great show. Perfection. I don't know if anybody can get it better. The writing, the casting in this show, man, so many people turned in such amazing. I mean, for very short visual scenes, these actors. Yeah, Games of Thrones story. Yeah, I guess it would be like that. Yeah, yeah. There was a level of honesty that went above and beyond discomfort that I really appreciated, and that individuals who think they would like that kind of lifestyle, you only get that when you're honest, and the honesty is that yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's still some the Star Wars fandom community is like the locust of like you know evil and hate now. There's when you have a fan community asking for like death threats for people who are just actors, it's crazy. So um and a lot of directors have been known to say, hell no, I'm not touching that material, because the fandom is so venomous and poisonous and dangerous and such. So I don't know, this might be one and done. Tony Gilroy might just be like, I'm done. I don't. Plus, here's the unfortunate. Um, here's the unfortunate natural biological element of creatives, and that creatives are always searching for new things. So it's the unfortunate bystand that we get great things from people who don't want to be in that thing long term, and we whereas long term storytelling is often by the journeyman creators. And yeah, I mean, let's be honest, if most of us, while we love this stuff, would not want to be the ones um shepherding it in, because on the surface we would go, yay, we get to write and produce and direct and create all these new things for my favorite fandom. And then all you're gonna do is just get all the hate in the world and go, it's not, the money's not even worth it, the popularity, the money, that it's not even worth it. You're so funny. Long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was nothing for the Libertines to do. Oh, there was plenty to do. They were just behind closed doors. But yeah, I'd have to start a whole nother podcast about storytelling and whatnot. Uh, but from a guy's point of view, I don't know how much I'd have to convince. There's there's no good way of doing it, but it would it would be better if I could connect back with the other two people or two of the most important people, and then like, but then it would just feel like it was like trying to reconnect like with Facebook or something like that. But yeah, but it would be pretty fun, pretty fun to do. I love it. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Also, yeah, we'll talk about AI systems. I still got that in my head, um, and some other not horror stories, but growing horror stories, I guess, with AI systems and AI agents and things like that are happening now and growing quickly. Plus, I got to take a bio break as well because I'm sitting here and my bladder is just like just knocking on the door. So, guys, have a great one. Thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for even finding the show back again and giving your valuable time because I think it's very valuable and spending it here is it's a great honor to be a locus for that. So anyway, guys, have a great one. I'll see you later. Peace. Bye. So Butlerian Jihad tomorrow then? Yeah. Sure. A little dose of that, a little sprinkle. Absolutely. So guys, I'll see you tomorrow. And yeah, we'll talk about that one as well. Peace and tranquility. Bye. Yep.